Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. So happy to be here. This is episode 11th of Behind the Bouquet. We have a very special guest today. As you all know, or should have known, Valentine's Day was last week. So I couldn't think of a more appropriate way to welcome Angelisa Almanzar of All Heart Coach onto our social media series. She is a love and relationship coach. She brings women's goddesses out, inner goddesses out, and I have so many questions to ask her and really dive into her business model, what clients come to her with, any questions and concerns that they may have, and really how she built up this incredible business just really talking to people. She talks to people, and that is so important, especially, if you're getting married or in any aspect of life. It's a great way to really do everything. So welcome to Angelisa Almanzar. So happy to have you here, boo.
Yes. Hello, darling. Hello, guys. Everyone out there watching in Cyberlands.
So many people.
Right? I'm sure. We'll be on Oprah next.
So we usually start these with just some brief background. How did you get to this point?
So that's so funny. I rarely think about my journey here because I always tell people it feels like I've been doing this forever. I have been into personal development, coaching since I was 19 years old. So shout out to Momentum Education. My best friend from childhood actually runs that business. He's incredible. They're an adult empowerment company. So you go, they do all kinds of trainings, communication, leadership, they do corporate trainings. And I did that work when I was 19 years old. So it was my first kind of foray into personal development, into life coaching, I didn't know growing up, I didn't know that life coaching was like a thing, right? I didn't grow up with Tony Robbins tapes while I was in the crib.
And I'm sure that at 19 that was also just a paycheck, or what you thought it was.
Oh, totally. I was like, I don't even know that people do, what is personal development? What is personal growth, right? I was like, that doesn't even make sense. But I knew some amazing people who had introduced me to this world of personal development. And it was incredible. When I was 19, I did these courses and I found so much about myself. And what I think I found was that with enough reflection and with enough people that you trust, with feedback, with really learning to accept yourself, look at the things that work about your life, look at things that didn't, I was able to truly transform as a person. Now, are there core things about me that I'm literally have not changed since I was 5? Totally. But there were some really core aspects of my life that started changing immediately when I started really taking responsibility for my own growth. And at 19, you're not really thinking about that at all unless someone comes in and says, listen, you have potential to be more. Here's tools for you to be able to help yourself. So when I started learning about personal development, I realized that it really was a tool for me to help myself get to where I wanted to be, right? And so when that started, things just really, really changed for me. And that was now, oh my goodness, so that was 12 years ago. And ever since then, in that organization and in other different avenues, I found ways to always be supporting people, giving back. I would volunteer. I was a volunteer coach. I started mentoring teens because growing up as a teen, I was angsty. I was an angsty teen. I was should have gone to Ivy League, but decided to drop out. That was me. That was me. So I started mentoring teens, and I realized I really loved and was super fulfilled by helping people identify the things about themselves that made them powerful, that made them unique, that made them amazing. I realized that so much of the things that held us back are things that all of us struggle with, right? So it doesn't matter if you're the CEO at a top company or, the janitor at a school, a lot of us are dealing with the same exact issues and trying to hide them, right? We're just that's the game of the world. It's let me try to hide how insecure I feel or unworthy I feel or undeserving I feel. And I realized that after coaching for so long that so many of us were having the same exact inner conversations. So it became a passion of mine.
And at that point in your life, so young, did you realize that you wanted to focus on women?
Well, it was, I actually was a chef. I was, of course, the perfect trajectory to being a love coach. First, you go to school to be a cook. I was a chef, and it's interesting because life coaching and eventually relationship coaching, because it really started as like life coaching and really like I was helping a lot of professionals figure things out in their personal life. At first, it was like the kind of thing I did. It was like a side, not even a side hustle, because most of the time I was not doing it paid. I was volunteering. Everything I did, I was a chef for a while, and then I went into HR. I had this like side passion that was always this. It was helping people through their issues, et cetera, et cetera. And so what ended up happening, which was really interesting, was that it kind of happened serendipitously, like most things in my particular life. A friend called me. I was at work. I was working at the time as an enrollment coordinator for programs and doing like HR kind of work. And a friend called me on a lunch break, and she was like, I really need to talk. She was like, you seem to really know a lot about relationships. You turned your relationship life around. I was like single until I was 25. And then like in 9 months fell in love, and now we're like engaged, right? Hey boo. So he's amazing. And so you better be watching. So my friend called me, and she was like, I really need support. I'm struggling. So I'm like at my job, which was not this. And I'm like, sure, call me on my lunch break, because that's what I would do. Like, right. Call me on my lunch break, call me after work, no problem. If you have a relationship issue, I'm like your girl. People in my life started knowing that about me. I ended up talking to her for like 2 hours. So now we went into like not my work. It's like not my work, but I'm taking 2 hours out of my day to talk her through relationship. And I knew immediately what wasn't working, why her relationship was falling apart, why the guy was like not respecting her. I mean, everything. And this was, she's an incredible woman. She's an entrepreneur herself. She's in her 50s. And at me, I was like 25 at the time, but she was a good friend of mine. And she said to me, like, you just gave me 2 hours of your time. I have to pay you. And now imagine you're 25, you live in New York City, you're like scraping by, and she's like, how much should I pay you? And I was like, $20? It was like, this is my friend. I mean, so weird. And it was so funny because she, being an entrepreneur, being like so into women empowerment, she's just has been a huge influence in my life. Her name is Joy. She's amazing. And she was like, no, I'm going to pay you $100. I'm sending it to you right now. And she goes, and Ange, this is what you're supposed to be doing. And I remember getting off the phone and being like, did I just get paid to like do what literally I do all day, every day for people I love? And that's really how it started. She called me back and she was like, would you do a workshop in my home? And I'll bring the women. She's like, just you bring your knowledge, I'll bring the women, would you be willing? And I'm a total like yes person. Like I'll say yes and then figure it out later. I was like, sure, why not? She's like, how much should we charge? How about $50 a woman? Just for like, I can probably get like 10 women. That first get together, she brought like 15 women. And it was the most guys, it was the most incredible day. This is 4 years ago now, like 4 Novembers ago. And that's really how we started.
And they were just picking up that you were putting down.
They were just picking up. I created, by this point, I had been doing workshops, volunteering, really learning the components that create transformation, right? Like, what are the components needed for someone to really go from point A to B to C to D? So I literally just created an experience for like a 6-hour workshop, and it was, principles I'd learned, really my own perspective on relationship, my perspective on communication, what I knew got me from like super single, never having dated, to like, my man moved in like 3 months. We like met 3 months later. He was living with me, like super. And women were like, "How? I can't even get a guy to text me back." And like, right? And it's like, I'm at the gym all day, and I'm like, not at the gym all day, right? So it was like, women were like, what is it that you're doing? So it was, but that's really how we started. It was totally serendipitous. And 3 months after that, like the amount of purpose I felt, I left my job and I like took the leap. I literally just, I had 2 months of bills and I was like, I guess I'm doing this.
So at that point, do you have a website up?
I do. Well, at that point, no. At that point, you know, what's funny is if, you know, you're an entrepreneur, so you know, and any entrepreneurs out there will get it, that in the beginning, you think your website is the most important thing in the world. You're like, I gotta get this website. I need my branding colors. I need a logo, you know. So I was like agonizing every day about these things that just did not matter. I probably
weren't ready to come together.
Oh my gosh, we're not ready to come together at all. Nothing was ready at all. Like it was, you know, and even once I got those things ready, it didn't make a difference.
Yeah.
Like it didn't make a difference on my clients, whether I could get clients, whether I could get my message out there. But no, at that point I had nothing, Janine. It was literally me in a dream, guys. It was like
So you touched upon something really interesting. You said an experience, and from my business, I'm always creating experiences and telling people to kind of focus more on those. Like,
I love that.
And
it's probably why your events are the shit.
But like, do your clients understand that? Like, or are they so focused on going to the gym and eating, you know, a salad for lunch, and you have to kind of guide them to, you know, live your life, like enjoy it. And
that's so fun. It's literally, Janine, 100% of my work. It's like, no joke, guys. I would say, honestly, it's 98% of my job. So a lot of the work I do, my program, the program that I've really like grown my business with, it's a group coaching program, which is how I do my best work. It's called the Enlightened Feminine Academy. And the feminine energy is something that I teach women to get in touch with, especially nowadays, being like entrepreneur go-getters, where we are like balancing home life, the relationship life, the work life, taking care of your children, if you have children, your coworkers, your friends, your family. It's like we can get lost in all of it. And not only lost in the doing, but also getting lost in who we think we need to be for all these people in our lives. So a lot of the feminine energy work that I do with women, and I honestly, it's like 99.9% of what it means, is learning to be present. It's learning to be in the moment, not just with like my surroundings and what's going on, but with myself. Like, what do I need in this moment? How do I feel in this moment? How do I express what I need and what I feel in this moment? Why does that even matter, right? So a lot of my clients are very, when they come to me, are absolutely stuck in what we call the process, right? They're stuck in like this detail, and oh, if I have the certain style, and if I reach a certain weight, and if I do X, Y, Z, then that's the recipe for finding love, or that's the recipe for getting a man, right? Or a woman, or whatever. And when they come to me, I'm like, literally, it's the last thing on anyone's mind to attract love to you. People do not care. Yes, they care if they're attracted to you, right? Yes, they care if they're magnetized by you, but it's the least attractive things about us that we like think they are, right? It's about, like you said, I mean, experience. I love that word, like rung for you, because that's what makes people fall in love with you. It's like, it's what's their experience when they're with you? Do they feel on edge? Like, you could take the most on edge, strung up CEO, you know, let's say whatever, who's like works really hard, and then he can meet you at the gym or at a coffee shop or at a bookstore. And if when he sits with you, he feels his entire day relax. If when he sits with you, he can be funny and silly and remember what it was like, you know, in a simpler time, that's what makes someone fall in love, you know, like it brings them back to themselves. They can kind of drop out of all the responsibilities of the world.
And then all the rest kind of falls into place where you can communicate better, you can be on the same page most of the time. You know, most of the time.
I always tell people, I was like, relationships. I help a lot of my clients get into relationships, right? So it's funny, most of my work when I started was to help single women, but like half of my clients are women that are already in relationships and just looking to grow their relationship or deepen their relationship, or just make it more harmonious, right? But I always tell my single clients, I'm like, half the battle is finding the guy. I was like, and then that's when the war begins. Like, the battle is finding him, and then the war really starts, because relationships, I think, committed relationships have a way of really stretching us. That's where you have to find the patience, the compassion, right? The compromise.
Right. Because I think like as the relationship gets more complicated and, you know, it goes on longer, that person, you know, on Tuesday and Wednesday of a certain week sometimes isn't the most important thing.
Oh, absolutely.
And they have to be okay with not being that, you know, most important thing that has to get done that week.
Oh, absolutely. And it's I love that you say that, especially with my work and a lot of the women I work with, you know, and I don't know what it was like. Janine's probably been cool her whole life, but like,
I love this.
Like a lot of the women that I work with and I deal with, and I know because I myself was that when I was dating, we go out into the dating world, right? We have like a full life. And then we start dating, we meet someone we like, and what happens?
You drop off the face of the earth.
Drop off the face of the earth, lose our shit, right? Like we become obsessive, we become anxious, you have like a really good date, and then all of a sudden you can't stop thinking about him. Yeah. All this anxiety comes up, he hasn't texted yet, he hasn't done this. All of a sudden it's like all about this person. And that's the kind of knee-jerk reactions and knee-jerk behavior that one, it'll keep you from getting into a relationship because that's just an unhealthy way of relating, period. But if you do get into a relationship and that's your mentality and that's your kind of come from, I work a lot with women on really unpacking that because it's such a space of scarcity to be in. It's such a space of like no one ever really stops to think about, why do I get anxious after a really good date? Right? Or now that I have, like me, for example, oh my God, daddy issues to the max. After I was in the relationship with my now fiance, that's when like all my crazy came out. Like I was like he would leave and I would just start sobbing and I couldn't, and it was so bonkers. Like I really had to, you know, I had the tools at the time where I could sit with myself and be like, okay, where is this really coming from? Because I know it's not about him. Right. And what a lot of women do, the women that I work with, is that they will then make it about the partner, make it about the guy. Well, you need to make me feel better. You need to, you know, make me confident in this and it's like, no. Like, no,
you're your own person. You can do this.
You're your own person, and you should be able to do it. And it's so much funner and more relaxing to be in a relationship like that than it is to always be looking for your partner to fill you over and over and over again. And in relationships, I think it's important, especially as they do get complex, like you said, you want to have the time set aside for your partner, for your person. That connection, that intimacy is so important. And it doesn't have to be, you know,
date nights or...
No, it doesn't have to be like, you know, a vacation every weekend. But you want to have those quiet moments. It can be like 3 minutes. It can be 5 minutes. It can be 10 minutes. Where it's just you and me, and sometimes they're organic, guys. Like sometimes it's not even, if your life is super hectic and you're running business, you're raising children, it may not always look like the same every day or every week, but having those quiet moments, it can be 45 seconds where it's just you and me and we're like checking in with each other, makes all the difference for making someone not feel alone. You know, so like in a relationship specifically, but in dating, it's such a tightrope to go from like, I'm cool to I'm crazy really quickly.
And everybody has a side of crazy, and that's okay. You should embrace the crazy.
That's my entire life is embrace I mean, I think when you embrace what, I mean, and by the crazy, I really mean, right, we all have our stuff that's like our triggers or the things that make us feel out of control or that make us feel, right? And it can be literally like emotionally out of control, or I get angry or ragey, or I get insecure and weepy, right? Or needy and clingy. So I used to be super clingy. I'm not clingy anymore. I don't care. I forget about him now. But no, like my fears used to come out as clinginess, right? And God bless him that he was just like, okay, she's scared. Yeah. I ask him now, like 6 years later, I'm like, did you think I was crazy? He's like, no, I just thought you were scared and it was okay. And I was like, that's why we're getting married. that's why we're getting married. But yeah, it's like figuring yourself out, but it's surrendering to the crazy is totally the first part. It's surrendering to the fact that you're a human being and you have a lot of things that you may not know. There's parts of you that you may not understand, but creating that grace and that compassion and intention to get somewhere else, like to get to the other side. The clients who come to me know that there's things that are not working, right? And the thing is, there's a lot of people out in the world who things are not working, right? Like their relationships fall apart. They date the same, J off every single time. Like they are explosive or they're abusive or they're in abusive cycles with people and in relationships. But they walk around thinking that everything's fine, right? So there's those people, and then there's the people who are like, no, like this can't be my life. There has to be a destination besides this.
So I would imagine that sometimes you have to have a conversation with someone that, like, it's okay to be single.
Oh my God. There's some, the first part of my program, so my program right now is a 3-month program. The first part of my program is like, stop dating. I'm actually like renaming like dating detox. Like absolutely, there is a time in your life, and really it's on a case-by-case basis, but I do work with women to kind of be able to take that stock and check in with, am I actually ready to be dating? Am I in a position to co-create life with someone, right? Like relationships are not just for the gram, right? Like they're not just to have a date for the next wedding or for the next family function. It really is co-creating life with another person. And if you're not in a space where you are self-fulfilled, that you're having a good time in your life, that you don't feel peace and confidence by yourself, then I absolutely tell them, like, stop dating. We're rebuilding the foundation so that then you can bring someone in and then you're creating together.
In a comfortable space where you're a little bit more confident.
Oh, absolutely.
A lot more confident.
A lot more confident. I think a lot of it, and I think it's cultural, right? It's like very social for us to think or believe or imagine that by bringing someone into our life, we're just magically going to get happier. And that just doesn't happen. It's just not the truth, or it's very temporary. On top of the fact that very rarely is someone attracted to someone who's unhappy.
Right. Unless
they themselves have their own fucking issues, right?
Yeah.
Excuse
we
my
curse
language.
a lot at
Excuse my
so
language.
don't worry.
But it's like, right? Like how would you, like, right? Would you be into someone who was unhappy or was like always complaining, always negative, or hated their job 24/7, so they're just complaining about that? It's like no one really is attracted to that, and the people who are attracted to that are probably people you shouldn't want to be with. So that's absolutely 100%. There's a couple of different components of life that I think get to be in check, and it's not about perfection, right? It's not about perfection. It's not about a cookie cutter formula, but like your body and the way you feel about your body. So it's not about having a certain body type, but like I always tell women, you want to get to a place, and this really starts in your mind and in your heart, like where you accept your body.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I met Quay, my fiance, I was 270 pounds when I met him. And I had just lost maybe like 30 pounds or 40 pounds, but I was feeling myself. I literally felt like I had truly decided, you know what, the man who loves me is going to love all of me, right? And because of that, when we were dating and getting together, he like was all about it, but also now that we've been together 6 years, he's seen me through all the fluctuations, and I've never had to have that fear,
right?
You know, of like, oh, is he gonna stop? Like, because that comes no matter what size you are.
Yeah.
But having that confidence and comfort with your own body, with your own sexuality, is one of the parts that I talk about with women.
I feel like that also comes with like age. I feel like the more you mature, the more like
absolutely
comfortable you become.
Yeah, and accepting, right? Because you're just like, what am I gonna do? Like, try to change myself literally for the rest of my life? That is exhausting. And here's that we're always growing and evolving, but you don't want to be exhausted just being who you are, right? And not only that, because of the principles that I teach women in my work, you realize how like living from that space and like experience, that can totally be our coin term for that, but like it creates an experience. When you are not happy with yourself, when you are telling yourself you're not enough over and over and over again, it creates an experience in your relationships. Not just with dating, by the way, but like in general, but especially in dating, which is the most intimate form of relating that we do, because these are the people who see us naked. These are the people who see us at our low and at our high, right? So if you're walking around with that tape playing in your head, that, oh my God, I'm hideous. Oh my God, I'm not enough. Oh my God, like you're always coming from this experience. People feel that. Your partner feels that. And a lot of times in relationships, like I know that when my relationship is like, there's a lot of breakdowns, communication is not there, I always take the time to check in with myself. Like, where am I not feeling the love for me? Because I'm clear that it's showing up here.
Right.
And it would be easy to blame him if he's grumpy or if he's whatever. It would be very easy to put it on him. But I always start with myself first, because I'm clear that like my inner world will create my outer world. And it's like, and there's an experience that I'm also creating with the person I'm with. So it's very, it's wonderful, exhausting work, but it's so worth it. It's so worth it.
Now, is a red flag someone who comes to you and like they pick up the phone, they say, hey Angelisa, like my end game is to get that ring. Like, is that a red flag in your business?
You know, it's not a red flag. I feel like a lot of women I've talked to have said pretty much those exact words. I have a consultation, I have a discovery call with all my clients before they work with me, for me to really see, like, can I really help this person? Are they open enough, right? Are they trusting enough? Are they, right? Some of my, and we'll talk about this, because I told Janine, I hate the term coach, really. Like, it's used in my industry, but I don't feel like that's what it is. But it's, some of my methods are not like orthodox. They're not like, they're like a normal, like, oh, I'm gonna make you sleepy and like change the way you think. No, but if you're willing and you trust and you're able to surrender and really, and follow my guidance, like I will take you there. I will absolutely take you there. I have at this point dozens and dozens and dozens of clients who are now getting the ring and getting married, like this past year, and calling the wedding planner, right? And like last year was the first year that my clients who, you know, got relationships from, because I've been in business 4 years, so the first 2 years of my business, these women, single women, are now getting into relationships. And last year I started getting the wedding invites, and I'm like, oh, so exciting. But the women who come to me for the ring, what I have found, I wouldn't call it a red flag. What I have found is the ones that call me focused on the ring tend to need the most work on things that are not the ring, right? Because to lead us to the, you can't, listen, I'm sure there are coaches out there who will like market to the ring and will tell you, can tell you exactly how to manipulate a man into getting engaged with, like I've seen everything, you guys. Like it's a no-no word. Manipulate. No, oh yeah, to manipulate a man into like getting you the ring or get like whatever. If that's what you're looking for, by all means, like go for it, but it won't be with me, right? Like I actually I tell people, like, I don't give a shit if you get a ring. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. What I want for you is for you to wake up every day and go to sleep every day and know without a doubt that you're in a relationship with someone who has your back, that you're with someone who makes you feel seen, who appreciates you, that you know if you're having a bad day, they will go out of their way to make it better, like that you know you have a teammate and a partner. And the only way I can do that is to make you a really good teammate.
Right.
So it's like, in that way, I am a coach, right? If I'm thinking about, like, I'm going to make you the best teammate you can possibly be, and watch the amazing people who will become attracted to you. Because like attracts like, right? Like, we all know that at this point. And if you're out there just searching for a ring, men know that.
Right.
Like, I always tell women, like, your game isn't tight. Like, you're not hiding it well. Like, no one, like, men know that. And the really good men, the men who are gonna be great fathers and are gonna, like, be there when you're 80, you know, cleaning your booty and all that. Like, those men know that you're just looking for a status or you're looking for an end game, and they don't want that, right? The only guys that are really down for that are the guys who want you as a trophy wife, or who just, like, want to check something off. Yeah, and I see that all the time, ladies. Like, I have a lot of clients who have come from those marriages, who now have to find their way. Now they're in their 40s and 50s, trying to find their way through, like, being in a relationship that was never truly a relationship. Right. You know, that was never truly a partnership.
Okay, so let's say you're in a relationship and you have a big event like a wedding coming up. That alone, like, just those words are probably so stressful.
Oh, I can only imagine.
Are there some, like, tips or tricks to keep, not the relationship alive, but to really check in and make sure that you're doing it for the right reasons?
Ooh, that's juicy. That's juicy.
And that you can see, and that the wedding is about love at the end of the day and not about the production.
No, I always tell this to people. Well, okay. I feel like there's, like, a couple of questions in the question, right?
We'll unfold this.
Like a little Russian dolls. So, yeah, I've heard it was good. I'm putting it on my list. So, how to make sure you're marrying the right person. That is, I think at the end of the day, I know all the times I've wanted to kill my partner, that I think I tell people it's okay to not be sure, right? I think that, like, there's this thing out there that, like, if you just know. Like, we all grew up with that, like, you just know. Like, no, we don't just, no, we don't just know. I'm a commitment-ophobe, I think probably by birth. I'm pretty sure I came out of the womb, like, I'm not sure I'm ready to go out there. Like, I literally, I remember 3 years into my relationship buying a Valentine's Day card. We've been living together this over 3 years, and, like, the word forever on a Valentine's Day card made me almost puke. Yeah, I was like, nope, no. Right? Does that mean I don't love my partner? Of course not. It's just like, for some people, you don't just know. So I want to put that out there, that if you have doubts, if you're nervous, it's totally normal and natural. No need to ring the alarm or freak yourself out, right? So that's, like, the first thing I want to disclaimer. It's okay to be nervous or scared or not know. Like, I think it's actually, I actually think it speaks to a high level of intelligence to, like, is all the pieces in the future. I don't know the future. Right? So, like, it's okay to be nervous. But is this someone who you cannot imagine your life without? Right? Like, I think at the end of the day, that's the question. Can I imagine my life without them? And even if you can, because I can totally imagine my life without my partner, is it better? No.
Right. And so to kind of piggyback on that, so my partner and I kind of did things backwards. So we've been together a really long time and, had the kids first, and we're no talks of marriage or anything like that. But having kids kind of puts it into a perspective where I don't think I'd be able to breathe without my children. If my partner left me, life would go on.
Absolutely. Exactly. Like I said, I totally imagine my life without, like, and I would be fine, but would it be better?
Right. No, not necessarily.
Yeah, not, like, it wouldn't be better based on who he is now and what I know now, right? Like, because here's the thing. Sometimes I want to believe, right? And I'm going to assume anyone out there who's getting married is making that decision based on what they know in the moment, right? Like, we can't tell how someone's going to be 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now. I don't even try to assume that in my own relationship, you know, like, and there's no such, for me personally, there's no such like, oh, we're going to be together forever no matter what. Absolutely not. Like, absolutely not. We're going to be together as long as it makes sense, as long as there's like a commitment from both of us to work on this daily, right? Like, as long as that's there, but like, if that ever stops, like, you know, like things get to change, or not, and then I get to move forward. But based on like who you are now, who they are now. So you don't want to marry someone for potential, guys. Like we talk about,
good point.
You don't date for potential, and definitely don't marry for potential. Absolutely not. Do you want to have a shared vision with someone? I think that's a huge, huge, huge point. When you both think about the future, do you see the same thing? That's a great person to possibly marry. If he sees himself traveling the world alone, you know, and you're home with the kids, and that's not your vision, probably not the right person to marry. So that's one thing that I would look at is, you know, do we have the same vision for the future? Now, knowing that that can change. But like I said, you have to make these decisions about relationships based on who you are now. We don't know what's going to happen.
Right, because everything changes daily.
Everything changes daily. So I literally change. I end some of my phone calls with like my colleagues. It's like, oh, I can't wait to see who I am tomorrow. Because I literally like, right, my mind changes every day on the regular, sometimes by the hour. So do you have the same vision for the future? A bit, like everything else can work itself out. Is there commitment on both sides to always be trying? Or are you the one who's always forcing the issue? Now, you know, with guys, for the straight ladies out there, we feel your pain. But with men, right? Like, there's a certain expectation. I know with me and my boo, I'm usually the one bringing up conversations. He's happy as a clam most of the time. But of course, because like, duh, right? But it's like, so I'm clear that I'm usually the one having the deeper conversation about like, okay, this isn't working, we gotta figure this out. But does your partner listen to you?
Right.
Is like, even if you have communication breakdowns, which is totally natural, do they come back to the table? Is there always this resolve to come back to the table and work things out? Or agree to disagree sometimes is totally fine, but like, do you have a partner?
Yeah.
Are they your teammate? A lot of my clients that I work with now realized that when they got married, they didn't have that in their partner. You know, and they have these amazing weddings, and they have these fabulous, like incredible, over the top, beautiful, intimate, like family events with their husband or wife, but they realize like, I can't believe I married this person who never came back to the table with me.
Right.
Right? So it's like, so do you, and does he or she put in the same amount of effort or complementary effort to what you need? Some people like to run the show. I say that's great, but you want to have someone then who can complement that.
Right. Now, I guess steering away a little bit from that, the law of attraction. So like, if you see for me, if I see like a good looking guy at the bar, like you're like, well, that's a really good looking guy. Like, do you think he is attracted to me just by that?
I love this question. No.
This face?
I mean, well, if it's you, then yes. I believe everyone is probably attracted to you. Well, and actually what I find is the more, you know, speaking of attraction in general, and if you're out and you're dating, specifically for like the single ladies, but honestly, even if you're in a relationship, I think one of the most underrated attractive qualities that you can have that will activate the attraction magnet is having a good time. If you're having a good time, if you are relaxed, if you're approachable, I think people don't think about that often. They will dress to the nine, they will put on the red lip, they will do the pin straight hair, knowing that they're trying to attract someone. But then they go out to the bar and it's a complete wall. Yeah. You're like, are the men in the room think you're attractive? Sure. Are they gonna come up to you? Probably not. You're not making eye contact with anyone. You're not smiling at anyone. There's nothing about you that is telling someone, please come share space with me. Like, come experience me, right? And it's like, and that really is what makes you attractive. It's first, I always say it starts with your beliefs. So if you believe that you are someone worthy of being experienced, if you believe that you're someone who is joyful, friendly, loving, compassionate, then you're gonna show up a certain way in the world. You're gonna smile at people, you're gonna make eye contact, you're going to strike up conversation, right? So your beliefs dictate your attitude and dictate your behavior. So I always have people check in with those. Like, what do you actually believe about yourself? I think you probably believe you're delightful because I believe I'm delightful. So whenever I go out, I make a ton of friends. I make friends, I meet new people. People are receptive because I absolutely walk around the world with that belief, right? And then it impacts your results and what actually shows up. So yeah, do you want to go out and like become a magnet? That's always what I tell people. Become present to who you are. Like, walk around with that expectation that of course they're going to want to talk to me. Like, I have things to offer. Right. I have interesting thoughts and interesting like point of views, and you know, and I'm honest and I'm authentic, and that's ultimately what attracts people to you. Is
And I guess we've come full circle here because it's all about being present.
Yeah, it's all like 100%. It's all about like it's the biggest. I'm telling you, I'll work with someone for like 6 months, and no joke, this has happened like a million times at this point. It'll be 6 months of working together, or 4 months, or 3 months, and then they'll go, "Oh my God, I finally got what you said week 1. It's just about letting go and being in the moment." Yes, Sarah, it is. Like, it's like...
I feel very sad. It took me 30 minutes, maybe?
It took 30 minutes, rockstar, dude. It literally is being present. And then there's things that keep us from being present. Our fears, our inner conversation, our inner monologue, wanting to look a certain way, wanting to portray a certain, you know, coolness or whatever. It's like, people don't... Think of the last time you wanted to be around someone who was like really cool. Like, they're not fun to be around. Like, you want to be with people who are like awkward and dorky, and
who make
like
you laugh.
who make you laugh and who you feel comfortable with, and who you feel like, oh my God, I could say anything around this person and they're not going to reject me, right? They're not going to judge me.
Well, I mean, because some of the stuff that comes out of my mouth sometimes, so I'm like, whoa, you need to be really receptive over there.
Totally, right? But it's like, those are the people who give you permission to be who you are. And I think that is the most, honestly, it is the most attractive quality to be that kind of person. The kind of person that says, I might be a hot mess, you know, but I know I love myself. I know who I am. So you come to my party and you be a hot mess and you be whoever you are, and it's just going to be a good time, and we're going to figure it out together. I promise you, if you start dating like that, like, dating is so judgmental. Right. Like, dating has become so, I mean, it's like crazy pants, that everyone's just walking around with a wall. So this is like 100%. I always say my goal before I die is to revolutionize the way that we date, because I'm so clear after speaking to hundreds, I think at this point thousands of women, and also some men, is that everyone's walking around with the exact same desires, the exact same love coming out of them, but because of the kind of programming and socializing and fears, no one is like showing up to dating with those qualities. So it's like, if you just put down the cool and just like be yourself, put down the cool, be yourself, like, have a good time, be compassionate, be interested. Yeah. Like, be interested in people, ask questions, like, don't make people jump through hoops to get to know you. Just like share who you are, and you will be surprised how quickly things and relationships start to change. Amazing. I have 2 final questions. Yes. I don't know which ones we'll lead with. Okay. Do you think people just, would you bet money that a couple who has 2 different political beliefs can make it? Can make it. Like, strong political belief. Like, one is wearing a MAGA hat, and one is like Lord.
Oh, yeah.
Can they make it? If there is a pact to never talk about, honestly, I wouldn't. I think you definitely can, because I know that there's couples who, right? I know for a fact that there's couples who have and couples that do all the time.
But those are some core values.
I was going to say, I think your politics are who you are, and without really judging one or the other in this moment, it dictates who you are. And I do believe that if the core of who you are and your values are that drastically different, I cannot imagine having a harmonious relationship, because there's it really is core values. So core values is something I talk about a lot in my work. It's not enough to just like someone. It's not enough for long-term relationships, y'all. If it's casual, whatever dating, listen, MAGA hat all you want. If you're just hot and I'm just looking to whatever, okay. But if I'm looking to build a life with someone and then have children and raise those children with certain beliefs, I would find it extremely difficult to do that with someone who our core values were that different. Absolutely, 100%. Is it possible? Sure.
Are you intrigued to talk to
I am very intrigued. I actually listen, if any of you out there.
I think it's just interesting.
It would be super, super interesting. A lot of couples have done it. There's a lot of components to relationships that are outside of just love and outside of just attraction, that for long-term relationships, I feel having two radically different political backgrounds, I personally wouldn't be able to do it.
I don't see it either, so I was just wondering.
That's such a good question. It's no, it really is. Some people have been able to, or they can literally compartmentalize it in their minds. There's people who are oh, my values and my beliefs are all my own and you can have your own and I don't care. There's definitely some people like that. I'm not evolved enough for that. For me, I care too much about social justice and good old, not building walls and stuff like that. So yeah, it really depends on, I guess it depends on the people. I wouldn't advise it, but.
All right. And the last and final question, I think.
We'll see.
Yeah. How do you feel about these dating apps? Pretty much all my clients meet on dating apps now.
Me and my fiance met online. We met on and it wasn't a dating app. Wow, how time, 6 years ago, it was a dating site.
Oh.
We didn't even.
I didn't think of that. That's funny.
That's crazy that 6 years ago, dating apps had really just started to come out. They were still really sites, and you would go on the site, and then you would have an app for it, but it started on an actual website back in the Stone Age. So I love it.
It's predominantly Tinder.
Tinder's killing it.
Yeah.
Tinder's killing the game right now. I don't know specifically why Tinder, but several of my clients have met their now fiancés and husbands on Tinder. Yeah, actually, I think my first all-heart wedding was a couple that met on Tinder, actually. So yeah, listen, hashtag Tinder, do you, boo? So, but yeah, no, I absolutely love online dating. Excuse me. I think online dating is, listen, I think anything that you do with intention is great. I always tell, people tell, oh, I want to meet someone, but I don't want to do online dating. Then I go, then you don't want to meet someone.
Yeah, because
it's one of the major ways people meet these days. If you are a busy, if you're a busy individual, if you are at your job most of the week and you're not into any of your coworkers, where else are you going to meet people? Right, are you going to start taking are there different ways to meet people? Sure. But if you are saying that you intentionally want to meet your person, get married, why would you close off the possibility of an avenue that has worked for so many people? Some of these apps have gotten very sophisticated, by the way, extremely sophisticated. There's a bagel meets thing,
Oh.
whatever. Coffee
Yeah.
Meets Bagel. There's, OK Cupid. My best friend got married, and LBP did their wedding. It was amazing. But it was like they met on OK Cupid. There's so many stories now. Like everyone knows someone who met their really great match too. Not like just some like weirdo
Right.
off match or something. But it was like someone who really met their match online. I honestly tell people, like, if you refuse to even consider it, then I tell people, like, then I would say that you're not fully open to meeting someone at this point in time. It's just like the number one way to meet people right now. And
Yeah. All right. So be present.
be present.
Communicate. Love yourself.
Always starts there.
Always starts there. Be open to Tinder, OK Cupid, bagels and coffee.
and pick someone who has the same vision for the future that you do.
Cool. We are.
It's awesome.
We're gonna wrap this up.
We're ready. We're ready, Janine. We're ready for love, guys.
Yeah, and then
And so are you.
Yeah, come to LBP when you.
Come to LBP when you find your person.
And if you already have your person and you're with us and getting married, just make sure you're always talking and checking in.
Well, and as you're planning, I think you had asked me that, like, when you're planning the wedding, how to, like, I think it's learning compromise. I imagine me and my partner are just now starting to plan our wedding, and I think it's the perfect time to learn compromise. And learn I don't always have to get what I want. But
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. For
You're
coming
so
on
welcome.
the
Thank you so much for having me. This has been super, super fun.
Yeah.
You are wonderful at interviewing.
Why, thank
appreciate
you.
it.
And so bye, guys.
Bye, y'all. Have an amazing day. Happy Tuesday.
Yeah.